Djalu Gurruwiwi, Mali Mali Zapin Maradurunga Mirijama.
Imagine living in a world forged from a dream, where time doesn't exist. Here, the past, present, and future move side by side in a continuum that extends beyond the limits of imagination. From the earth, songs of profound wisdom echo from generation to generation. Days are not measured by months and years, but by the rising sun and the ebb and flow of tides.
I love watching out into the sea, and it sort of gives you the inner peace that you need when you're on a homeland. And it's in your own area, the land is yours, and you feel the land, and we know that the land accepts us.
For thousands of years, the land has welcomed its people, the Yungu, in a loving embrace. It provides sustenance, strength, and guidance. But now, this dream time is shifting.
Malo angan Arya Kagabiani, Aragaya Kagang, Malton, Taruk to the old Mong Mong, a one way I'm thinking, Auntie Ngande on a bit and Momo Ngande, Yakamal to a waifu, do not albiano come, do not multiple giant Malikum. Lily at it, Anna Punoga to Karaka. Bear the Nongalapper, a silk Anapunara, Napa, Lee Pedamala. Danger is Malan on the group for each other.
And for those ones that I see that are lost, I mean lost in all the things that has been around the world for so long, what I call the distractions, when they're lost in that area, homelands are the place where they can revive themselves, to actually find themselves, who they are, and where they belong to.
As the outside world enters this dream time, the light wanes slightly. Days shorten as shadows grow longer.
The whole of Arnhem Land was sort of left alone to be a soft pillow for the Aborigines to die out on, but they haven't.
Time is now measurable. The clock has started. Thousands of miles away from Sydney and Melbourne, in Australia's Northern Territory, sits a protected Aboriginal reserve called Arnhem Land. Northeast Arnhem Land is home to some 20 different clan groups that comprise the Yungu people, one of the most culturally vibrant groups of Indigenous Australians. Along the idyllic shores of Birritjimmy Beach, a few miles away from the town centre of Nhulunbuy, and only a few hundred feet away from the multi-billion-dollar bauxite mine, the Galpu clan wages a quiet battle for their survival. Just off the main road, approximately 50 members of the Galpu reside in a handful of battered homes. Clan leaders for the Galpu, Djalu Gurruwiwi, and his sister Dhanggal, strive to restore eroding traditions in the midst of an uncertain future. Well into his 80s, Djalu's health is in decline, and the legacy of his sacred music, one of the cornerstones of Yungu culture and wisdom, remains uncertain. While alcoholism and drug abuse ravage the community, Clan traditions often fall by the wayside as the distractions of the modern world pull at the minds and bodies of its youth. Meanwhile, the traditional lands of the Yungu are under constant threat from international mining interests. The remoteness of the community provides few employment opportunities for the clan, while the basic cost of living in the region is exponentially higher than the rest of Australia. As a result, Djalu's clan is forced to lease their land to the mine in exchange for royalties that never seem to materialize. Caught in between two worlds, clinging to the sacred tenets of Yungu song and tradition, the Gurruwiwi family elders remain steadfast and determined to keep their culture strong. Besides the reverence bestowed upon him for his vast knowledge of and adherence to sacred law and the Yungu traditions, Djalu is best known for his master craftsmanship and his playing of the didgeridoo. This traditional instrument, referred to as the Mandawuy or yodaki, with its haunting drones, originates from this tiny region in Australia. Throughout the world, many refer to Djalu as Mr. Didgeridoo, with his reputation reaching mythic proportions across the internet and throughout the world.
Beli napa jala badacun. Yul. Idake bilanya mak barku malakso marma menit palaya. Muna idake ana nang tuana mala nok pujana. Ngalan damba lariwan inside ayo tuan yang idakim ngai dakol kolkna testing bala antingo abale landikan sa magma mine kahat alna tuat manaro pangalam alaka edaki ar pointing number edaki odono perdama ngala edaki abelanya
Nah, pai mas bema, thinking maya enggak biar. Nah.
Ya ka Rirakai bila ya bijan instrument ada nyakoro on instrument by kita balayang ado idas ado ceremony katang ngai na apa wamarkane bijan badan Aero bella wiska waripu norska waripu iska waripu south.
He has virtually single-handedly lifted the awareness of Northeast Arnhem Land Yidaki up to the point where it is.
Djalu is a scientist, a Yolngu scientist, and he has the science of Yolngu law that informs his Yidaki playing. And when he comes to explain this Yidaki, he does it from his own scientific background. For Djalu to explain how to you guys to play the Yidaki, it's in a different world.
In terms of his skill in playing the Yidaki, his skills in actually passing that information to others, other masters of Yidaki, whether they be young or whether they be old. He has a very profound standing within the Yidaki side, the Yidaki philosophy and Yidaki history.
Bella kitten balaro wala abenam flowing ada garua kanya kum reda kai ngoi ada ka.
Just a few miles away from the groves of stringy bark eucalyptus, from which Djalu creates his didgeridoos, the towering smokestacks of the Rio Tinto refinery cast their lengthy shadows. In 1952, substantial bauxite reserves were identified on the Gove Peninsula. Bauxite is the main ore used to create aluminum. Over the past 60 years, mine production has swelled.
What's unique about Gove is being an integrated site. So it's a refinery, a bauxite extraction, aluminum refinery, and the port facility. And the fact that you operate in a historical place that contains a major indigenous population, and the fact that we are surrounded by a pristine marine environment and wild bushlands that we need to preserve and keep the biodiversity positively preserved.
My country that making bauxite, making powder, aluminum. That come from Mandawuy area with the airport, that great stuff. And after that, the powder, white powder.
Current demand for products such as soda cans, cell phones, and computers drive the machinery and its employees non-stop, day and night, all year round. For every 1 pound of aluminum produced, 13 pounds of toxic mud and waste are generated. At peak performance, the mine manufactures nearly 18 trillion pounds of aluminum per year and over 227 trillion pounds of waste material. In this process, caustic chemicals and gases, including fluorides, sodium hydroxide, carbon monoxide, and sulfur dioxide, are all used and produced. Prolonged exposure to any of these chemicals is lethal. The Ongu not only live at the foot of the mine, they subsist off the animal and plant life surrounding it.
for the Yolngu, I don't think haven't really benefited out of it. There's been $50 million in royalties paid, and that $50 million in royalties hasn't filtered down to many of the people here. It's made a couple of families very powerful, and other than that, it hasn't. It's bought some helicopters and bought a lot of cars and bought a lot of alcohol, and but it really hasn't been invested properly. You know, it hasn't been invested in education or in health, better living standards, better economic management of money and things like that. From an environmental perspective, I don't think you would ever get an agreement to put a chemical processing plant on a sand spit like it is down there at the plant anywhere else in the world, unless it was a third world country, because it's just sand underneath that plant. So leachates that are dropped on the ground eventually find their way into the water table.
Drinking water, and it's sacred. Come and wash yourself on it. If you want to.
But over the years, before, for years and years, nothing was ever done. So there's some nasty things in the water table, and there's probably 10,000 years worth of problems there.
For decades, despite the mine's looming presence, the clan has managed to preserve its ceremonial life. Djalu's grandson, Vernon, is now at an age where he must begin to follow in the footsteps of his male elders. Djalu helps guide the Galpu as to how the boys' initiation ceremony, or dapi, should be performed. This ceremony is one of the oldest and most sacred traditions still carried out by the Yolngu. After his initiation, Vernon will be expected to keep sacred law intact through strict adherence and participation in all aspects of Yolngu life. Family from all over Arnhem Land gather to perform this rite of passage, which culminates in circumcision. The art rendered on the boys' bodies is not simply decorative, but expresses the profound cultural significance of the story it conveys.
Sacred rock belonging to the Kirikya clan. The rock Virali.
The boys are adorned with sacred bands, signifying their new status as men within the clan. Special songs are performed only on this day. They open the divine space through which Vernon and the other boys will step into adulthood. Each aspect of this ceremony, both literally and figuratively, reveals part of the mystical language of the songline. Up until this point, the boys have been reared and nurtured predominantly by the women of the clan. Once the boys are circumcised, the women must let them go so that they can be publicly viewed as men and assume new responsibilities. The women weep for this loss, but they know that this has been the Yolngu custom for thousands of years. Their tears are part of the cycle of life that continues throughout space and time. Their wailing reverberates into the world of their ancestors. Upon completion, the initiates are simply treated with smoked leaves that contain medicinal healing properties. Rarely is an antiseptic needed. Within a short time, Vernon stands. Now walking into the world as a Galpu man, alongside his grandfather, Djalu. For the elders, concern for their legacy hangs perpetually in the air. Even among the initiated, the clan is becoming more westernized. Ancient ways are being dismissed and forgotten. The younger generation must now negotiate two different worlds and value systems simultaneously, the traditional and the contemporary. Djalu's children and grandchildren are caught between these two worlds. They have grown up with automobiles and video games, cell phones and soft drinks. There is no precedent within their history for this cultural shift, no instruction manual, and their scarce resources create numerous challenges. When younger clan members become distracted, they lose out on valuable time that could be spent learning from their elders. After initiation, the elders have little ability to correct dangerous behavior or try to rally younger clan members to participate in ceremony. It will require an extraordinary vision, dedication, and maturity on the part of Djalu's children to understand what life will look like for the clan in the years to come.
Larjama, unaman, beribirma, larjama, ngajeli, berimbir. Where yakana, larjama, beru, Tôi mà bảo là mà trái cầu phần lật kem em.
Come. Another one, faith song about your faith, about God. A song about faith.
At the moment, we're wanting him to work, but somehow he's just on his own there deciding what he wants to do. We can't tell him what to do. We can talk to him through certain things, but going around it, but it's up to him to either take it in his mind how he wants to go doing that thing in his own time. And that's the way we usually discipline mature people. And it's up to that person to realize, they're talking to me. What have I been doing? Oh, this is where I haven't been in to help them. All those kind of things that they have to decide for themselves. He knows what he wants. Yeah. But as for these other boys, they don't. They're still young. They haven't reached that maturity yet. They're just wandering around in one little muddy water, how I call it. Wandering around in the muddy water where you can't see where you're going. When you're out in the clear water, you can see where you're going.
Ko vision pe kapda yakana apa. Tada badak baman maya ko tang tukara na. Ako deltilaya kan kadang yakana yalmen.
In all my dealings with him over 15 years, I've never seen him act in any way inconsistent with the philosophy that he espouses, and his philosophy is based on love. He emanates love, not in a sooky way. He's a very strong man, but he lives, he walks the walk as well as talking the talk.
Kêu ona marke overseas ka Australia yakana play chung that butuan Wiswin ka rally picture. Wala ngurong ayaw ang antikan kololo ko na doktor ada help kung ay ko ada ninian gambalan.
People have lobbed in, spent time with Djalu or met Djalu somewhere and been changed by that experience and carried it away. His spirituality is genuine and his aura, if you like, is real, and his behaviour is completely in keeping with everything that he espouses as a form of belief.
Yak nada yol malang udah jam ngadong anak ngadong anak mama ngalang udah wala kang waibong bala nos lea berton o bala bulon o jalatang amala train nam na tuan jual ko tanaling walak tuan na ngama train malkaman.
I don't know what the future is. It's, I think if Djalu dies, it might fall apart.
All around Djalu, the winds of change are howling. Djalu's mind is heavy. In ceremony, where the Manichae song cycles take days, sometimes weeks to complete, rituals are passed down from one generation to the next. Each day, Djalu's quiet urgency grows louder within him, knowing he must impart his wisdom, strength, and values to his family before he leaves this world. Just as the elders did when Djalu was a child, layers of sacred knowledge must be conveyed to the children through songs whose origins come out of the land itself. This is where the power of the Yolngu lives. Often he will turn the strenuous job of playing the mandapul over to younger men. Gently he coaches and corrects, ever mindful of the need to keep the tradition rooted in the minds of the next generation. In this country, these songs maintain the laws and teachings that comprise the fabric of all space and time, past, present, and future. They provide a compass for daily life. Every day, Djalu's heart breaks open, spilling love and wisdom in all four directions: north, south, east, and west. This is his Yirdaki speaking, to the Americas, to Asia, across Europe to Africa, and now, back home. Djalu's voice, in chorus with his ancestors, rises and falls, now gently, then furiously. The beat of his clapsticks blends with the mandapul's drone. dancing feet sway in time with the rhythm. His cries fill the ever-growing chasm between this new world and the world he remembers from when he was a boy on Elko Island. His mission and purpose have never been clearer than they are today. This is what Djalu fears the most, leaving anything undone. The hope for a better life does, however, beckon in the distance. Nomadic in both spirit and culture, the family maintains numerous homeland communities across Arnhem Land. To simplify the complexities of life in Nhulunbuy, there is a push by the elders to relocate the clan away from town. 5 hours off the coast by boat, the island of Rarikala is breathtaking, surrounded by crystal blue seas, plentiful freshwater springs, and sufficient natural resources. Djalu and Dhanggal believe it can support the clan. What in the past took days by dugout canoe is now more easily accessible by motorboat, when the family can gather the large sums of money needed to charter one. Beyond its beauty, however, the family holds fast to a vision for the clan's future. Distance not only buffers the youth from temptation, but also allows the elders to keep the next generation within arm's reach. Physically cut off from the influences of alcohol, peer pressure, and gangs, the children and wayward young adults will be more likely to escape the lure of the outside world. Virtually pristine, life on Rarikala more closely resembles the world in which the elders grew up.
Our plans are to move here to make a fresh start. Probably just live in tents for the time being. What they're doing now is they don't seem to come back to the way of life that we lived before.
The old man saying good wisdom, knowledge for this area and helping, but don't increase very well young people because a lot of bad things happening from before a long time, not drinking or with something like that. Many things this time happening was very was too hard to stop them.
The young people settle down and find out for themselves what they need to do, sort of like clean up their acts. Good water, fresh one. Out here, that can easily be cured by having what the land provides. Karmoy! Pakit mayang! I mean, the places around here are sacred. And we want the young people to learn about those places as well as sustain the culture. Nowadays, everybody's just rushing around. They don't have the time to relax, to actually go back, see what they have been doing, and sort of go back home after being here, you know, learning about all these, how to go on with your life without depression, stress.
Good life ceremony, hunting, that kind of is your own life, is alive.
But establishing such a homeland creates significant challenges. Encroaching fishing syndicates from Asia have diminished a once plentiful stock of fresh marine life, and resources are dwindling. Additionally, the island is deserted. There is no electricity, no plumbing, and no homes or shelters. Supplies and emergency services are hours away by boat or helicopter, all of which create tremendous expense for the clan. Aboriginal children need modern, formal education, as well as traditional, to keep both worlds in balance.
And by moving here, they know that if we leave them, they'll have no one to turn to. So they'll have to come follow us, because they know they're safe with us. And they can get out.
It is twice as much work, but the Yolngu must know both if they are to navigate an uncharted future successfully. The costs involved in this push to Rarakala and the feasibility of supporting the entire clan on the island have repeatedly proven to be too great in the short term, and the family's immediate needs cannot wait. There are too many stark reminders of how much different life is back home in Nhulunbuy. The joy of visiting the island fades as reality sets in.
This one, and this gowit.
Like everything with the clan, a day's catch is shared amongst the entire family.
Put it in the plastic bag.
A large yield of fish and turtle eggs ensures that for today at least, no one will go hungry. This communal spirit permeates every aspect of clan life, which is crucial in these lean times. In this small community, there are simply too few financial opportunities to generate the resources required to support even the most basic living conditions. Neither government assistance nor the mine subsidy have ever proved to be enough to sustain the whole clan. As has been done for thousands of years, the clan must make do. It functions as a collective, each living life to support the other. In this way, everyone gets not much, but enough.
In the 25 homelands, the costs are just beyond belief. What it costs to live in those places once you factor in the air flights and the food costs. People are generally living a fairly subsistence life, which is existing in large part off the land. But, their kids know about PlayStation and, Coca-Cola and those sort of things, and it's natural for them to want to satisfy those wishes. So they need money.
Rich in spirit and traditions, cultural tourism has become a way in which the Galpu clan can survive. There seems to be a global fascination with the indigenous. Many envision Aboriginals as noble, exotic, and carefree, an idyllic people communicating with the spirit world. While in some ways this holds true, the reality is often more serious, with dire financial needs facing most indigenous people worldwide.
Pungul Jama over there. And I'm playing Iraqi, and this fella here is gonna helping me play Iraqi. And my son and my big brother, for my son's father, then we're gonna sing song, and these people here, they're gonna dance. We're gonna show you how we dance. We're gonna show it for these tourists here. We're gonna show our culture for them.
Dhanggal's education, English skills, and business savvy help her to run these cultural exchanges successfully.
as you can see, everyone. Today. Tomorrow might be different. There's other family members situated all over the community. So.
A few times a year, these non-secretive ceremonies are displayed for tourists willing to make the long journey to Mandawuy.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Groups that come and go are thrilled by the majesty of the songs and traditions, as old as the ochre used to paint the dancers' bodies. These tourists snap photos, which they bring home to friends and families as mementos of their adventure. Although authentic, these performances showcase only one aspect of Yolngu culture. The real magic is everything layered underneath, manifest in every aspect of their daily life.
Mandapol thing, I was sort of like a healing thing, so you'll go back with that.
Thank you, you're very good dancing.
The remoteness of Mandawuy requires nearly all food and goods to be shipped into Gove by air and sea, multiplying the price of basic necessities by 3 and 4 times normal retail cost. Supporting an entire clan on the modest income from these performances is next to impossible.
You'll be able to put some into Djalu's account.
Yeah, okay.
Some, and
All right, so I'll get 600 for this dog, so I'll put 400 euros and 200.
It's a subsistent life, and some days the family goes hungry. One of the most critical issues facing Aboriginal culture is the fallout from drug and alcohol abuse. Both physically and culturally, they are ill-equipped to assimilate these substances, and the community is profoundly impacted by addiction. With clan members living in such close quarters, often 10 to 15 people per household, the children's exposure to substance abuse is compounded. Children who grow up in this environment are more likely to become alcoholics and drug abusers themselves. Addiction rates can be more than 6 times greater here in Arnhem Land than in the rest of the country. With alcohol often a major cause, Aboriginals are 3 times more likely to commit suicide than non-Aboriginals.
Can't wait here for you all night. You want to stay here or you want to go home?
I want to go home, but I don't try to bring my beer.
I'm not sure, but we can't wait here all night.
In the past, there was limited exposure to drugs and alcohol. But as times have changed, many clan elders have fallen victim to abuse. Within the family's democratic social order, a collective clan strategy is difficult to achieve.
And a place like this is a must for them, where that person is always motivated and doing something, either by doing gardening or going out hunting or going out getting timber to build things around here, shelters and whatever. Their mind's occupied doing things, not by sitting around and getting all these thoughts coming into them. The boys are alcoholics, and there's no way that they can stop doing that. Because every Friday they get paid, they head into town, and haven't the mind to start giving up on alcohol. No, nothing like that, no thought. And they're even family members.
Awajindawan, and I've came back from there and looked all this mob. Bad situation. Right? Why don't you talk to me?
What do you want to talk about?
Huh?
What do you want to talk about?
But this situation here.
How can it be better?
I don't know.
And when they come around me, you know, I haven't got any food. Good for you. Go around, go hungry. Because you blew up all your wages on last night's grog or thinking you're rich, sitting in the pub all night long drinking, and you blew up all your money. And yet they never learn from it. It's like a cycle that they have to go through non-stop, the same.
On the road leading into neighboring Yirkala, the Larpan Patrol helps to prevent the flow of alcohol from being brought into the community. The patrol's impact has significantly cut down on late-night disturbances. Despite the constant promise of social service and outreach programs funded by traditional land leases to the mine, elders are often left to organize their own grassroots community efforts.
It's the way to keep the community strong and the culture strong. It's by taking away the growth, letting them go home, live with their family without any hassle, or sending the kids to bed early, make sure they go to school because our kids are our future.
Heavy substance abuse within the non-Aboriginal population of adjacent Mandawuy has spilled over into the community.
Fuck you! Djalu's youngest brother. I am the last. I am gonna tell you a story. What I'm gonna tell you a story. All about these people here. They're drinking and raping themselves. Right? I don't want that kind of a situation. That's all I need. Well, when we grow up, all these people here, when we grew up, and all people said was all ex-drinkers. So when we grew up, that's all I said.
when you're gonna grow up, make sure you look after this area, this country. And I said, yes, we'll do it. But onward we did. We had to drink and drink and drink and drink. And all of a sudden we realized all our grandpa's grandfather and our grandfather's grandfather passed away. And it was just for this odd year, we recognized that we have to do something. I said, now. We're controlling this area now. And we like.
Yeah. It's important what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's no problem.
I cried.
Thank you.
Djalu's home at Birajimi is just too close to the major roads leading to and from town, which makes the control of alcohol and drug traffic next to impossible. In the face of these challenges, when the female elders need additional solace and strength, they turn to Christianity. The Yolngu were first indoctrinated by missionaries in the 1930s, but their spirituality has since evolved.
Warfare of flesh and blood. It's in the spiritual realm. Because God didn't give us a spirit of fear. He gave us a spirit of power to bind the enemies.
Biblical stories and Yolngu cosmology have fused into a single faith.
Christianity didn't come to us as new. That was just an eye-opening to see our culture that He put there before. God did. He put Himself there for us to really open our eyes and see with our soul that God was here all the time from the beginning.
As in many other aspects of modern Aboriginal culture, gospel hymns shift seamlessly between English and Yolngu Mata, unifying two systems of belief that provide additional spiritual and emotional support. Maintaining Yolngu identity while adapting to Western culture, these songs bridge the gap between worlds.
That's what the missionaries taught us. But God was here with us already. There's God in everything.
There are no clear answers for the Yolngu. Their traditions and value systems center around respect and maintenance of the land and adherence to its laws. Ancestral songlines cosmically bind every member of the clan to their collective history. They often lose out to the excesses and constraints forced upon them from the outside.
Been a long time, just don't care. It's there, but I don't care. If it's there, it's there. And I don't worry about it. I don't think about it. But there are a few times I've worried when there's cyclone time. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen to the refinery? Because a lot of chemicals are there, and we're close by it. And what would happen if it spills out into the water? Those kind of thoughts, only during the cyclone season. But I know I can get away here. But yet, the water will be polluted. Those kind of things.
We're going to go to the top of that building there, which is what we call low temperature digestion stage 3. Look, the hazards really that we're going to be looking at, we use a process called take 5, so I'll just run through that. So everyone feeling all right today? Everyone plenty of hydration, plenty of water? Obviously be aware this is a chemical plant. Those vessels do have caustic slurry under pressure, but there's no issues there, it's all contained. There's no risk of a fall, no mobile equipment interactions, no environmental impacts, and the hazards we've all talked about. The main one is, as I mentioned before, is the tank penetration, so just be mindful when we get to the top. Okay? We're ready to go. So just follow me and we'll head over.
Any notebook that's produced in the Eastern world most likely will contain hydrate from gold, because we sell that product to Japan. Japan is probably, a company in Japan is probably one of the unique companies in the Eastern world that produces a specific product is used to produce plasma television, notebook displays and all that. So that contains that. The notebook, if your notebook is made in China, it contains our hydrate from gold. Okay? Rio Tinto is a major player in the aluminium business, there's no doubt about that. Yeah. Rio Tinto believes in sustainable development, right? So for you guys to come here, you caught a flight that contains aluminium. Someone needs to produce the aluminium, otherwise you guys cannot fly. I cannot fly. So we need to produce aluminium in a sustainable way. That's the Rio Tinto way to do it. So to be sustainable for the long term, the only way to do it is with support, full engagement, partnership with the community in which you operate. It's the right thing to do because it's part of the company's values, and bring benefits for the community in which you operate, which then make us sustainable operations and support Rio Tinto everywhere in terms of obtaining the license to operate. Plus, that gives us the right to operate. We're a mine company, we make money from that, we don't make apologies for that, and having the right values give us the high moral ground and the license to operate and give us competitive advantage.
Mining company Rio Tinto Alcan has been fined $160,000 in the Darwin Magistrates Court for a petrol spill. The company pleaded guilty to spilling 62,000 litres of unleaded petrol into the soil and groundwater at its Gove site in Arnhem Land last year.
We accept the court fine. I think it's not our job to judge that. I think we accept the responsibility. We are sorry for the harm.
The spill contaminated an area of 9,000 square metres. The court heard the storage tank at the facility didn't have a licence to operate, and during routine testing, conflicting readings were given from inside the tank. The company assumed its readings were incorrect, but then discovered fuel in the tank had been leaking.
The tank has been removed from the beginning and the area has been cleaned, and if you go in the area you see a lot of installations which are part of the containment plan.
The company says that containment plan has seen it spend $3 million on cleaning up the spill and stopping it spreading. It agreed with the Territory's Resources Department. The petrol leaked into the soil, sometimes to a depth of 18 metres and into groundwater.
Though quiet, Djalu's wife, Dopia, has been his faithful companion for decades. Like a mirror, she matches her husband's graceful movements perfectly. Djalu's health remains in the forefront of her mind. Aboriginal Australians' life expectancy is 10 years shorter than other non-Aboriginals, and untimely deaths in the community are disproportionately high for such a small group. As he has in the past, Djalu must travel hundreds of miles to seek specialized medical care. This time, he needs surgery. It's not clear when he'll be back. Djalu's health concerns are a constant reminder of the inevitable. It forces the family to face an uncertain future without him to lead the way when the road gets rough. He is often silent, watching, thinking, devising a plan for the future. He's hoping and praying there's a solution lying in the grass. As a Galpu leader, Djalu carries the weight not only of his own family, but of all the clan groups across Arnhem Land and Australia. When he leaves, his absence reverberates out to the community, creating a vacuum. Lesser men often collapse under the pressure. Thankfully, with Dopia by his side, Djalu is twice as strong. When the roads are good, the Galpu clan can reach a second homeland within a few hours by four-wheel drive. Although remote, it provides additional separation from the troubles in town. The Gikal homeland is perhaps a more feasible option for the family than Rarakala.
Boredom in the community. There's not much going on. So, the only solution is take the families somewhere else. It's the only way people will survive.
The neighboring Mata Mata community has an airstrip, running water, solar power, and a generator. It is a working model for the type of community the Galpu hope to establish less than a mile away, at Gikal. Having extended family so close by also provides a wider safety net and additional support for the family.
It's the bottom of my heart and how I feel about my family. I want to bring them all home. They're eating the junk foods, not the fresh, natural, no. That's where a lot of my family are getting sicker and sicker because of the rubbish. This is my home. This is where she grew up, but after she left school at Kaliwenko, came here. I had to do a few things and then I had to get back home to help my own people here. Had to stand on my own feet to help my own people back here. Just much quiet and peaceful. So we can have our own peace of mind to live out here. Clear-minded, no distractions whatsoever. That's why homelands are really a must for us. See the tank there? The pumpkin, cucumber, eggplant in the middle. There's somewhere in the middle here is capsicum. Basil and coriander. And compost there and over there. It's got buffalo manure in it that I need to mix that up. That's why I want to come down, stay here, and just do these things. No distractions. You've got this, you're on the land. You don't have to do things in a hurry. You can just take your time, patience, to do things that you want to do, instead of doing things that you don't want to do. Especially sitting down, gardening. That's the thing I want to do. Grow my own things, so I don't have to have anything else. Go back to town with get my groceries and whatever. Just stay here and grow what you want to eat, and things that the land supplies. Somebody took off with my knife. Yeah, but ask what's in it. Come on, let's go.
The Yolngu have been living harmoniously with the land for tens of thousands of years. They care for the land as the land cares for them. Controlled burns fix nutrients into the soil and open fallen seed pods that welcome the animals back to the land after the rains return.
For the new season, when the next rain comes, make it grow again and make it all good. Yeah.
These smaller fires prevent larger ones from burning out of control in the future. There is a mystical language in the flames, whispering its smoky secrets. The hot sparks carry the hopes and dreams of a brighter tomorrow back up to the spirit world.
So I'm going to take you all down to the bottom where it started. To Belinda, you could say to me, what's she doing? Why is she putting that clay for? I can put this clay over me, over my face, like that, like that. I can put it over my body, like this, like that. Even though there's nobody singing song. But to me, I can still do this. Because in the clay have the power. Have the power. I can't live without it. We have the language. We have the culture. For me and my family here. This is something that can carry on with it by generation to generation. And this clay represents the manga,
So this is the background of the backbone I'm saying about this clay. Power. And this clay is my great-grandmother. Now one will say rubbish about this clay. Nobody. People will accept it and respect it. In this clay have biggest respect towards other people. And other people have to show respect towards this clay. Because this clay have the law and authority over. Mấy mặt.
In Yolngu culture, true wealth still resides in a wisdom that cannot be bought or sold. On this beach, Dopia conveys lifelong lessons, passing on the richness of tradition for all the generations to come. Just as she walked down these shores at the foot of Rainbow Cliff as a child with her parents and grandparents, she continues the legacy of teaching by example. From infancy, Yolngu children learn. The reef, the sea, the sky is their school, their textbook. The need to preserve the sacred knowledge of Yolngu life has taken on greater importance and immediacy. These moments shared are invaluable. It is not just Djalu and Dhanggal's Galpu clan, but the entire 5,000 Yolngu spread across Arnhem Land that are at a crossroad. It is less that the old ways are dying, but more that the Yolngu are being pressured to assimilate a new way of living, the inevitable adaptation to Western values that emphasizes wealth over wisdom. Balancing ancient and modern worlds may not be impossible, but it requires the non-Aboriginal world, the Balanda, to meet the Yolngu halfway.
Gonna taste? Taste.
Education and employment opportunities are crucial for the Yolngu to survive. Dhanggal and Djalu's voices may often be soft, but they are resolved. The stories they tell are as old as time itself. The world would be foolish not to listen.
Kololo, alangro, jalak, bara, ro, jalatang, lungurma, bulun, ro, liling aikang, melkom, yo, aditya.